Have you ever thought about how many people deal with insecurity and how it affects everything around them? Welcome to Mike Motivation, where I make topics based on things that I experienced, things I grew up on, and try to motivate people that's like me, living in the inner city, or you at that place of if I could just get the information, the insight, I could know how to take the next step. And that's what I give the information, and hopefully it helps somebody. So let's talk about the definition of insecurity. The definition of insecurity is feelings of uncertainty and inadequacy that can cause anxiety about your relationship goals and ability to handle situations. Everybody or every human, in my opinion, deals with insecurities. Whether we want to admit it or not, whether we just keep it stored in our head, or whether we just manage it on a daily basis. Everybody deals with some sort, some variation, or some angle of insecurity. And pretty much, I've been blessed with the gift to look at things from a detailed perspective and how to articulate things, the process information, and I'm just sharing how I process things, how I look at things. And growing up over the years, I'm 41 now. A lot of things I see is like people dealing with their insecurities in real time, plus dealing with your responsibilities, plus trying to raise kids, plus trying to be a good husband or a good spouse or a good wife. All those things, plus managing your individual self. A lot of times it can be a daunting task. Sometimes it can really affect, some people say mental health, it can affect that. It can affect your individual health with your organs, your vital health, stuff like that. So, well, we're going to get into some of that. So, the first thing I want to talk about is the spectrum. And this is just some of the things, but it could be many things. But isolation, one side of the spectrum is isolation, the another side of the spectrum is celebrity. And then there's stuff in between, ostracized, whether you're criticized or whether people misunderstand you, you don't fit in with the crowd. A lot of things can cause a person to be ostracized, picked on. I've been there, roasted. A lot of times, I know in high school, junior high, that's what we called it growing up. Is they roast each other. Really, just people that ain't got no time on their hands. They just doing stuff. We could be doing more, but people just decide to roast each other. It becomes a roasting battle, and next thing you know, somebody can get roasted, and it can affect them, or it can cause insecurities in them. And I was raised that you gotta have tough skin, and if they don't know you, how in the world can you let something affect you that a person say that don't even know you? But that's just how I was raised. Is that right or wrong? I don't know. It could be, but that's what helped me get through these phases in life. Then you got healthy stage, a healthy phase where it's kind of you don't deal with the ostracized and roasted or isolation. You may not be a celebrity or popular. You may be known, which they kind of could be one and the two. But you at a healthy pace to where you're not. The insecurities are not consuming a lot of your thoughts, a lot of your progression. And what I will say is, we're gonna get into it, but insecurities, man, can eat you alive if you don't resolve them. And sometimes you have to be honest with yourself and talk about. I do it with God. I talk to God to help me with my insecurities or things that I dealt with over the years. And but whoever you, some people don't believe in God. I don't know. You have to find some way to process and deal with your shortcomings and your insecurities. But with that being said, let me know in the comments what will be your spectrum of social status or people deal with when it comes to insecurities, because we all deal with them. It's just everybody may not talk about them out loud, but everybody deals with them. Then you got the known part where you're not popular, you're not a celebrity, but everybody know you. It's like Mike is known for a blank. A lot of times, you may not even know what you're known for. It could be a multitude of things based on scenarios that you're in. You could be known for being funny, and then another group of people, you could be known for being sarcastic. Another group of people, you can just be known for being inconsiderate. Another group of people, you could be known for this. So you can be known for so many different things, and you may not even know it. Just depends on how socially aware you are. The next one is popular. I think this probably most apply in high school. Maybe as an adult life. Depends on what's your mindset. Just depends. And then there's celebrity. A lot of people don't even achieve this. This is really hard to get to. And it's a gift and a curse sometimes, because when you become a celebrity, you really can't go a lot of places because everybody know you. And it could cause a frenzy from what I see being celebrities go through. You don't live a regular life anymore. You can't live a regular life because you're a celebrity. Everybody know you. So I will say in the inner city though, you have people that's in that popular to known range that's on that side of the spectrum. And then you have people that's on that ostracized isolation side of the spectrum as well. It's let's say out of 100, you may have I want to say 30% on the popular known side, 20% on the healthy side, and that's 50%, and 50% probably on roasted, ostracized, and isolation side. Could be somewhere in there. It could be very pretty much where you go, but everybody is not on the top end of the social status. Because if we was, we'd probably be in a better world. But unfortunately, that's just not the case. So, as humans, some of the insecurities that we face are individual insecurities, whether you're not liking stuff about yourself or you feel like you don't meet the standards, or I know a lot of guys dealt with that when it's dating. You know, they didn't have the confidence, or, you know, they kind of struggled with the confidence. It kind of wavered. Financial insecurity. You feel like you don't have enough money, or you feel like you're not competing against the top people. You know, you feel like you're not making millions, or I don't know, but everybody's standard is different on how they view things. And then you have social insecurity, where you're socially awkward, or you're not accepted by everybody. You feel like people talking behind your back. That happens. You feel like you're just not on a healthy to upper place in the social hierarchy, or whatever that means. So, but according to reports, these are kind of the main three that people struggle with. I know going to school, you don't really do with financial because you're young, but the individual, you struggle with some financial because your parents may not can't afford to get you the best stuff. You only can get what you can afford. So instead of getting Jordans, you may get Jordache from Payless. Instead of getting Polo, you may get Faded Glory Rustlers, Wrangler jeans or whatever from Walmart. So it can affect you in all three categories based on financial. Socially, you get roasted because you got on Wrangler and Jordache shoes instead of Jordans and Polo. Individually, because you get talked about all the time, it affects your confidence because you feel like every time if I go to school, I'm gonna get talked about. So one or two of these can affect all three. It can be like a whirlwind. So to be able to battle some of those, it's pretty tough. So the report I was reading, it says many admitted that when they were younger, they valued others' opinion of them more than their own, like a 37%. But 46% said their own opinion of themselves matter more now, according to an NY Post study. You have to get to a point to where you can listen to others' opinions, because everybody got an opinion of you, but you have the final say so of who you are, not another person's opinion. Because there are people out there that will try to break you down on purpose. They will. But you have to have the final say so about who you are. Don't allow another person's opinion to cause you to go on the deep end or really fall down to that isolation place of the prism of social status. You have to put in the work, you have to build up your confidence, and you have to have your own opinion about who you are. You'd be surprised how many people you ask them who they are at this point in their life, different points, they probably say, I don't know, or they won't answer it. But I'm telling you, you have to come to a point where you can answer that question. And the reason why I say that is, how can you bring other people into your life if you're not confident about your life or what you're doing? You have to individually work on yourself before you start bringing people into your world or your reality. Just my opinion. And like I say, I never had it all together. I had to work on myself. I'm just saying it from experience. A lot of things I had to work on. And a person like me, that you're looking at, I didn't start out with confidence because I went through that phase of being ostracized and picked on and stuff like that when I was younger. But what I would tell you is if you just hang in there, you can outlive those phases. If you just hang in there. Because some places you go to, you really don't have control over where you go, like in school, environments, and stuff like that, because you're young and you only can go to where you can go. But when you become an adult, you get to choose where you want to go. And that's why I'm telling you that you can outlive those phases. You just have to be able to endure and develop the tough skin to outlive and get to those phases. Because what I found out when they said that 46% said their opinion of themselves matter more now is when you get older, you realize a lot of the people that you grew up with, you're not going to be around forever. Some people you're not even going to know in the next 5 or 10 years. They just really passing through. So people you deal with at 14 to 15, when you turn 24, you may not even see them again because y'all move different, you operate different, and you in different arenas or different areas. And you can live in the same city but still not run into people that you went to school with because y'all just don't do the same stuff. So remember that when it comes to people's opinion of you based on the phase or age that you're in, remember you can outlive a person's opinion of you. You can outlive negative thoughts or critiques of you. You can outlive all of it. But individually, you have to build your confidence and know that I'm going to get better day by day, year by year, and I'm going to outlive and keep living and staying positive. So, let's talk about some of the tips to overcome insecurities. And we're going to get up out of this thing. One tip is you got to be honest about yourself and experience with others. You have to be able to say, hey, you know what? I didn't do that right. I didn't say the right thing. I got to get better at X, Y, or Z. Will other people still try to take advantage and mistreat you? Sure. Will there be bad experiences with people even though you try to do the right thing? Sure. But you can't control what another person thinks, says, or does, but you can't control you. You can't control how you develop. You can control how you react, and you can control how you move forward. And sometimes you will make mistakes. I've made plenty of mistakes. I either said the wrong thing, I either did the wrong thing, or I thought the wrong thing. And I had to learn how to self-correct myself, be self-aware of what I'm doing. And if I make that random mistake or that mistake, try not to make the same mistake twice. Because when you make the same mistake repeatedly, it starts to become part of your pattern. So be honest about yourself and your experience with others. Sometimes you could be attributed to that bad experience and sometimes not. But if you know about yourself, you say, you know what, I did the checks that I needed to do and it still was a bad experience, you can walk away knowing that you did everything in your power in a positive manner, whether the situation turned negative or not. Because there are people out here that they're dealing with their own insecurities and they can sabotage everything around them. And you have to be aware of that. I'm dealing with a person right now, they're dealing with their own problems and insecurities. And they only know how to communicate in chaos. Now you got a choice at that point. Do I continue to be around that or do I separate myself until the behavior change? Just something to think about. Next tip. Understand your journey and base it on moral rules and life pillars. You have to understand your journey. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ came to this earth and died for our sins in order for us to get to heaven. He shed his blood for my sins, permission of my sins, and gave me the ability to repent and turn from my mistakes and sins. I believe in that. Whatever you believe in, I don't know, whatever you believe in, life pillars or whatever, you have to base your thoughts and your decisions based on a moral compass. Because if you don't, there are a lot of things that can come your way. You can fall deep in the rabbit hole because you don't have a moral compass to stop you or kind of guide you in a way that when you run up on those things, you can say, "Nah, that's cool. I'm good. I don't want no issue with that." But when you don't have any kind of guidelines or rules to go by, you'll fall for anything. You'll do just about anything. I'm telling you from experience. I wasn't always in church. I didn't start going back to church till I was about, I think, 25, 27, somewhere in there, right before I got married. And I can tell you that the further you get away from God, the more challenging and the more of the wilderness that you'll face, and you'll get in more survival mode than you will be in a healthy place in your mind. And when you're in survival mode, anything goes. Right and wrong is different. Sometimes it ain't about, when you're in survival mode, it ain't even about right or wrong. It's about getting to the other side, however you get there. Not the best way to live, but that's when you in survival mode. And survival mode ain't always the funnest place because you may not make it out. That's why I always tell people, develop your relationship. I developed mine with God and His Son, Jesus Christ. Whoever you believe in, develop your relationship in that higher power and understand that you can overcome and you can make it. But you have to put in the work, whether it's working on yourself, improving aspects of yourself, but you have to understand your journey. What's your purpose? Next tip. is to process assumptions and understand it's only a reality if it's 100% proven. A lot of times we do this as humans. You almost have to sometimes. You have to make assumptions. Sometimes you have to make evaluations and judgments based on the circumstance that you're in. But when you involve dealing with other people, sometimes I'm gonna speak from my experience. Your feelings can be make you think it's something that is not, and sometimes it depends on the environment that you grew up in. Will base a lot of the things you assume. So you have to always take in data and learn new things so you can improve your assumptions and help them get better. But remember, it's not what you know, it's what you can prove. And a lot of times, somebody will take advantage and try to mistreat you, but on the other side of that coin, they will not admit it. They won't say, "Hey, you know what? I was trying to take advantage of you." So, what I'm saying is, we all make assumptions. Everybody do it, and people try to pretend like they don't, but everybody do it. But sometimes you gotta know when to let it go and understand that okay, this person may be like this. So in certain situations, I can only operate with this person in certain situations based on the assumption or some of the clues that I've been shown by the pattern that this person displays. And sometimes you may have to prove the pattern by seeing it over and over because the person's not going to tell you. Some people don't even know that they do it. Like some people are not going to tell you they nosy, but they're going to always be inquiring about information. And then if you ask them why you being nosy, what you mean I'm nosy? I'm not nosy. So you got to know how to process those things. Take in data and understand that sometimes people over time show you who they are. And you have to make that evaluation and judgment based off the things that you're given because they may not tell you. You have to make that assumption. Sometimes it's better to overthink and be wrong. Overthink and be right than underthink and be wrong, and then you're in a crazy situation. So, but you got to have a balance as well. Next slide, next tip. How to resolve or eliminate thoughts from bouncing around in my head. I think this happens a lot with a lot of people. When we mess up, those thoughts bounce around. Make a mistake, those thoughts bounce around. The best way for me that I've gotten to the point to process these things, you have to be honest with yourself and you have to ask, how did I get to this point? Or where was the point that I got to before I made the mistake? Where did I go wrong up here in my thought process? What made it okay? Or what did I get to where it was okay to make this mistake? So if I ever get back to that place again, I won't make that decision again. It'd be like deja vu. Oh, I remember I was back in this. I made a mistake. I'm not gonna go down that same road again. I already been down this road. But you have to be honest and be able to correct yourself and not let it bounce around in your head to where it starts causing depression or mental health issues. Because the growth mindset, sometimes growth mindset, when you realize you have to grow, some people is a tough thing because you're going into the unknown. That's why I talked about that earlier on one of my reels. Positive unknowns sometimes that bounces around in people's head because you don't know what you're going into. But when you're walking in faith and putting in the work, faith without works is dead, you know that I may not know the outcome, but I'm walking in good faith. I can't lose. With Jesus on my side, I can't lose. Because I'm walking in faith, I'm improving myself, and I'm eliminating the doubt and the negative thoughts based on the work that I'm putting in my faith walk. that everything's gonna be all right. Even though I don't see it, but I'm doing the good works now. Just like when you're cultivating crops, when you plant those seeds, you don't see the field harvesting, but you're doing it in faith, knowing that once you plant these seeds and get them watered and cultivated, there's going to be a harvest. Unless something happened that's a drought, but then you can compensate for that as well because you did the work on the front end. Whether it's providing more water, being able to account for that. So allow yourself to eliminate those bouncing around thoughts because sometimes they bounce around like a ping pong ball and you're thinking about a lot of the mess ups, a lot of the decisions, and sometimes we make them. It makes you learn more. I did anyway. I learned more from my losses than I did the wins. I'm not saying that I want to make mistakes on purpose because I don't. But when I do, I really reflect and learn and I forgive myself first. Because people that you make mistakes, if you make a mistake on another person, they may not forgive you. But you have to ask God and repent and forgive yourself. Because that could bounce around in your head. Does this person forgive me? Does this person forgive me? I don't know. But you have to forgive yourself. You have to get up, dust yourself off, realize and admit that you made a mistake instead of holding it in and improve. Outlive your mistakes by improving and getting better each day. And I promise you, you will overcome insecurities by improving, building your confidence in positive things, and developing good opinions about yourself. Not worrying about other people's opinion. Because sometimes people have opinions about you and they don't even know you fully to even have a really good, solid opinion. When you think about people that you know, if you had a percentage scale, how much do you think you really know them? 0 to 100. Unless you grew up with them since y'all was kids, you may only know 60% if you can even get to 60% of a person when you meet them. But if you meet a new person today, let's say you just go to the grocery store, you meet a person, hey, how you doing? You don't even know 5% of that person. So, resolve or eliminate thoughts from bouncing around in your head. Another tip, might be the last, this is the last tip. How do you view yourself and honestly evaluate yourself? A lot of people that I grew up with, even I did this, I struggled with this. When you live in the inner city, a lot of times you only view yourself based on the proximity that you're around. And like I say, a lot of people that's prominent, a lot of people that's from the inner city, I'm gonna just say, make it personal. A lot of people that's from Southwest, Little Rock, that got good and got prominent, they moved out, and I get it because of living in the inner city, but you don't come back and talk to the kids, whether it's at a community center, whether it's a different at a school, and they don't have that to draw on. They only have to draw on what's around them. And we have to change that. We have to give these kids something to aspire to be. And also, we have to teach them how to honestly evaluate yourself. What am I doing with my time? How am I improving myself? If I don't know it, where can I get the information from? Instead of just keep saying, I don't know. You have to get to the place where you are learning to improve yourself, acquire information, and constantly learning. You may not go to college, you may not go to a trade school, but in life, you're always learning something. And if you stop learning, you're impeding your own progress. A lot of times, you hear a lot of people that's bitter, in my opinion, they bitter with life, and it affects everything around them because of bitterness. I think everybody kind of deals with it. Just some people go deeper in bitterness, they kind of just really drown in it. but you have to be able to uproot the bitterness in your life or things that you deal with and understand that your health is more important than holding on to bitterness. Your life is more precious than holding on to bitterness. Sometimes the things we hold on to is the things that hold us back. Think about that. Sometimes the things we hold on to is the thing that hold us back. But you got to be able to evaluate yourself and say, what am I holding on to? So with that being said, how do you view yourself and do you honestly evaluate yourself? I do this as a husband, as an employee, as a father. It's just an individual man. I have to evaluate myself. How can I get better? How can I get to more increased opportunities? And how can I become a better person daily? We all hear this, nobody's perfect, and that's true, but we can all strive to be better. You can. Sometimes my motivation, some people don't like it. They say that it could be too direct and too mean, but I'll ask you this. The other motivation that you think people out here doing, is that working? Because I listen to it, it's like it's not, to me, it's not working. It's only causing more harm. And it's these kind of things in life, these little things. You hear that word insecurity, and people kind of glaze over it, but a lot of people deal with these things. There are people that grew up their whole life never dealing with the insecurities that they faced and brought other people into their life and have devastated people based on the things that they're dealing with. Kind of like the Grand Canyon, right? Water in the Grand Canyon. The water caused the Grand Canyon to be that way. Water can be like insecurities. If you don't deal with it, it's going to erode everything around you. And it'll be like the Grand Canyon. I'm just giving you an analogy. The erosion of insecurity sometimes can cause everything around you destruction because you don't want to deal with those insecurities. The last point on this is focus on what you're good at and laugh at yourself sometimes. I laugh at myself a lot. Humor is what got me through. Humor is what keeps me from going on the deep end because I'm not a super serious person all the time. Never really been that way. But you got to laugh at yourself sometimes. Then after you laugh at yourself, focus on what you're good at. And guess what? What you're good at, it may not be accepted by the crowd. But long as it's positive, as long as it's bringing you success, focus on what you're good at. If you don't know, find out. Invest the time to find out what you're good at. Don't allow other people's opinion to stop you from developing you. Find out what you're good at. Build around what you're good at. And after you learn, and after you reflect on the mistakes, I know for me, after I learn and reflect on my mistakes, I laugh at myself. What was I thinking? How did I get to that point? Oh, I know how I got to that point because I ain't got no sense sometimes. Sometimes you have to laugh at your imperfections. If you can't, somebody else would probably use that against you. But if you can laugh at yourself, if you can get to the point where you're not embarrassed by your flaws, you understand that's a part of you, can't nobody else embarrass you about your flaws. Learn how to build yourself up. Learn how to recover from your mistakes. And learn how to laugh at yourself. So there's some of the tips to overcome insecurities because we all deal with them. This is Mike. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. I really wanted to talk about this because I think a lot of people deal with this. It's just not talked about enough. But this life literacy content, real big things. Watch the channel CTM TV where we got the Thinking Game podcast on Thursdays. Some sports. Watch this channel, the Mike Flair channel. Thanks for watching. Help me reach 1K on both channels. Go subscribe to that one, subscribe to this one, like and share. And I am signing out.